Lyra sat alone at the back of the classroom. Her blue skin and glowing eyes made her look very different from the other students. She was from the planet Zalora, a peaceful world far away from Earth. She had come to the Interstellar Academy hoping to learn and make new friends. But things had not gone the way she expected. The Academy was full of students from many planets. There were tall ones with wings, short ones with tails, and even some that looked like floating jellyfish. Lyra thought she would fit in easily because everyone was different. But it did not happen that way. Every day, Lyra felt like she was invisible. Students whispered behind her back and laughed when she walked by. Some made fun of her soft voice and the way she moved. A few even pushed her books off the table when the teachers were not looking. Lyra never said anything. She just picked up her books and stayed quiet. She hoped things would get better with time. One day, Lyra was working on a science project. It was something she really cared about. She had built a small energy orb that could power a light for hours without using any fuel. She stayed after class to finish it and smiled as the orb began to glow dot as she got up to leave. 3 students walked into the room. They were known for being mean to others. One of them, a tall boy with sharp teeth from a planet called Grunux, looked at the glowing orb. "What's that?" he asked with a sneer. "It's my project," Lyra said quietly. The boy grabbed the orb. "Looks like junk to me. Please give it back," Lyra said. Her voice shook, but she didn't move. He dropped the orb on the floor. It broke into pieces. Lyra stood there, her eyes wide. She did not cry. She just knelt down and began picking up the broken parts. The bullies laughed and walked away. From across the hallway, someone had seen everything. His name was Alex Carter, a human boy from Earth. He had noticed Lyra before, always sitting alone, always quiet. He had seen the other students picking on her, but this time was different. Something inside him said, "This is not right." Alex stepped into the room. He looked at the broken orb and then at Lyra. "Are you okay?" he asked. Lyra looked up, surprised. No one had ever asked her that before. "I'm fine," she said softly. Alex knelt down beside her and helped her pick up the pieces. "That looked like a really cool project," he said. Lyra gave a small smile. "Thank you." They sat in silence for a few moments. Then Alex said, "Those guys were wrong. What they did was mean." "You don't deserve that." Lyra didn't answer. She wasn't used to people being kind to her. "I'm Alex," he said. Lyra, she replied. "I know it's hard," Alex said, "but you're not alone." Lyra looked at him. For the first time in a long time, she felt a small bit of hope. Maybe not everyone at the academy was cruel. Maybe there was someone who understood. Later that night, Lyra sat in her room, thinking about what had happened. The orb was broken, but it could be fixed. What mattered more was the feeling she had when Alex spoke to her. He saw her. He didn't laugh. He didn't walk away. Lyra knew the next day would be just as hard. The bullies wouldn't stop overnight. But maybe, with someone like Alex around, she didn't have to face everything alone. She looked at the broken orb on her desk. She began to fix it, piece by piece. Her hands moved slowly, but her heart felt a little lighter. For the first time since she came to the academy, Lyra wasn't just surviving. She was beginning to hope. Alex sat in the library, flipping through the pages of his science book, but his mind was not on the words. He kept thinking about the moment he saw Lyra's project get destroyed. He remembered the way she quietly picked up the broken pieces. He had never felt so angry before. Not just at the bullies, but at himself too. He had seen things like this before and never done anything. But this time was different. This time he acted. He looked around the library. A few students were sitting at different tables, but none of them paid attention to him. He spotted Lyra sitting alone again, near the window. Her head was down, and her hands were working on something small. Alex stood up and walked over to her. "Hey," he said gently. Lyra looked up. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly. "Hello." she said. Alex sat down across from her. Are you fixing your orb? Yes, she said. I think I can make it work again. That's awesome, Alex replied. You know, what you made was really cool. I've never seen anything like it. Lyra looked away. Most people don't care. I care, Alex said. What they did wasn't right, and you didn't deserve it. Lyra looked at him again, her expression softening. Why do you care? Alex paused. Because I know how it feels to be alone. When I first came to this school, no one talked to me. I didn't fit in. But then, someone gave me a chance, and now I want to do the same. They sat in silence for a while. The sounds of pages turning and quiet footsteps filled the library. Do you want to work on the project together? Alex asked. I'm not great at building stuff, but I can help with ideas. Lyra smiled just a little. Okay, double quotes from that day on, Alex and Lyra began meeting every afternoon. They sat in the library or in the empty science lab, talking and working. Lyra showed Alex how her energy orb worked. She explained how it used small crystals from her home planet that could hold power for a long time. Alex listened with interest. He had never met anyone who talked about science with such excitement. He asked many questions, and Lyra was happy to answer them. For the first time, she felt like her knowledge mattered. One afternoon, as they were finishing a test on a new orb design, a group of students walked by the lab. One of them was the same tall boy who had broken the first orb. He saw them and laughed. Still playing with junk, alien girl. He said. Alex stood up. Leave her alone. The boys stared. At him? Or what human? Or I'll report you, Alex said. Every time. And next time, I'll record it too. The boy scoffed and walked away, but he didn't say anything else. Lyra looked at Alex. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to, Alex said. You're my friend. That word, friend, stayed in Lyra's mind for the rest of the day. Later, as they walked out of the lab, Lyra said, I want to show you something. She led him to a quiet garden behind the academy. Strange alien plants glowed under the light of the twin moons. In the center was a small tree with silver leaves. Lyra touched the tree, and a soft blue light surrounded them. This is from my planet, she said. I planted it here when I first came. I come here when I feel sad. It's beautiful, Alex said. Lyra nodded. It reminds me of home. Alex looked around. Thank you for showing me this. Lyra looked at him. Thank you for seeing me. That night, as Alex lay in bed, he thought about everything that had happened. He didn't know what would come next, but he felt something had changed. He wasn't just a student at the academy. Anymore, he was part of something bigger. He had made a real connection, and so had Lyra. For the first time, she didn't feel like just a quiet alien girl in the corner. She felt seen. She felt heard. She had a friend, and together they were just getting started. Alex walked down the hallway with a calm but serious look on his face. He knew things were going to change. He had made a choice. He was not going to stand by anymore. He was going to protect his friend, no matter what. When he saw the bullies laughing near the science lab, he felt his hands tighten into fists. He took a deep breath and walked straight toward them. Hey, Alex said, standing tall. You need to stop messing with Lyra. The tall Grunux boy turned around. His sharp teeth showed as he grinned. What are you going to do about it, little human? Alex didn't back down. I'm going to report you. Every time. I've already spoken to the Academy guide, and next time I'll have proof. The boy laughed, but it was nervous this time. The others looked unsure too. Alex pulled out a small recording device and held it up. Try me. There was a pause. Then the Grunux boy turned and walked away. The others followed. Alex stood still for a moment. His heart was beating fast, but he didn't show it. He knew it wasn't over, but he had won this round. He walked into the science lab and found Lyra already working. She looked up and smiled when she saw him. You look serious. Alex smiled back. I had to take care of something. They got to work on the orb again. It was coming together well. Lyra's hands moved quickly and gently as she placed a new crystal into the small device. A soft glow filled the room. "It's working," Alex said with excitement. "Yes," Lyra nodded. "And it's even better than before." They tested the energy levels. The orb held power longer now. It was a real success. Alex looked at Lyra and said, "We should enter the school competition." Lyra looked unsure. "Do you think we could win?" "We won't know unless we try," Alex said. "And besides, it's not just about winning. It's about showing them what we can do." Lyra thought for a moment. Then she nodded. "Okay, let's do it." They worked hard for the next few days. They met before and after classes, tested different ideas, and fixed small problems. Lyra explained how the crystal worked, and Alex helped design a clear case to show off the glowing energy. News about their project started to spread. Some students came by to watch them work. A few asked questions. Some even said the orb looked cool. One afternoon, while they were taking a break, a girl named Megan came over. She was from Earth too, and she smiled at both of them. "I saw what you're building," she said. "It's amazing." "I didn't know Lyra was so good with tech." Lyra smiled shyly. Alex spoke up. "She's one of the best here. You just never notice." Megan nodded. "Well, I notice now. Good luck in the competition." After she left, Lyra looked at Alex. "That was the first nice thing someone said to me in a long time." "Get used to it," Alex said. "You're showing them who you really are." The day of the school science competition finally came. Students from all over the academy brought their best inventions. Some had robots, others had floating machines, and one even had a small weather changer. Lyra and Alex set up their orb on a raised table. They showed how the orb worked and explained the power crystal from Lyra's planet. Many judges stopped to watch. They asked questions, and Lyra answered them with confidence, while Alex watched with pride. He remembered the quiet girl who sat alone. Now she was standing tall, speaking clearly, and showing everyone her skills. After the judging ended, the students gathered in the main hall. The head of the academy stepped onto the stage. "This year, we saw amazing work from all of you," the head said. But one project stood out. It showed creativity, teamwork, and the power of friendship. The winners are Lyra of Zalora and Alex Carter of Earth. The room filled with applause. Lyra stood frozen for a moment. Alex nudged her gently. "Come on," he said. "You earned this." They walked to the stage together. The head gave them a medal and a small trophy. As Lyra looked out at the crowd, she saw something new in their eyes: respect, curiosity, even kindness. Later, back in the garden behind the school, Lyra placed the trophy beside her glowing tree. "I never thought this would happen," she said. Alex sat beside her. "You made it happen." "I just helped a little," Lyra smiled. "No, you believed in me, and that made all the difference." They sat in silence, watching the silver leaves move in the soft wind. A new chapter had begun for both of them, and they were ready for what came next. After winning the science competition, Lyra and Alex became more well-known around the academy. Many students started to smile at them in the halls. A few even said hello. It was a new feeling for Lyra. She had spent so much time being ignored, or laughed at that kindness felt strange, but also nice. One morning, as Lyra walked into class, she noticed something surprising. Her usual seat in the back was already taken by a group of students. But instead of pushing her away, they moved aside and made space for her. "You can sit with us," one of the girls said. Lyra hesitated for a moment, then nodded and sat down. The others began asking her questions about the energy orb and how she made it. She answered quietly, but their interest made her feel warm inside. Meanwhile, Alex was also seeing changes. Other human students started talking to him more. Some asked for help with their science projects. A few even wanted to know more about Lyra. She's amazing, Alex told them. She's smart and kind. You just have to get to know her. As the days went on, Lyra and Alex continued working on new ideas. They spent time in the lab, testing different crystals and building better designs. Lyra felt more confident now. She smiled more and spoke more in class. One afternoon, while they were working, their science teacher, Mr. Bradley, walked over. "I've been watching your progress," he said. "You two make a great team. Have you thought about joining the academies?" "Tech club?" Lyra looked at Alex. He smiled. "We'd love to." Joining the club opened even more doors. They met students from other classes who were also interested in science and technology. Some were from Earth, others from distant planets. In the club, everyone was treated as equals. One of the members, a tall girl with green hair named Nira, "Saeed, your energy orb could be used for emergency kits and space travel. We should show it to the council." Alex was surprised. "Do you really think it's that useful?" "I do," Nira said. "You made something powerful." The idea of presenting to the Academy Council made Lyra nervous. But Alex encouraged her. "We've come this far. Let's show them what we've built." They worked harder than ever, improving the orb and preparing a full report. When the day came to speak to the council, Lyra wore a silver pin from her home planet. It reminded her of her family and gave her strength. The council chamber was large and quiet. Important teachers and leaders sat at long tables. Alex and Lyra stood in front of them with their project. Alex spoke first, explaining how the orb worked. Then Lyra talked about the crystal's power and how it could help during long space journeys. Her voice was calm and clear. When they finished, there was silence. Then one of the council members said, "This is excellent work. We will consider your design for future use." As they left the chamber, Lyra felt like she was floating. She turned to Alex. "I never imagined any of this when I first came here." Alex smiled. "You made it happen. I just believed in you." But not everyone was happy about the changes. A few of the older students, especially the ones who used to pick on others, didn't like how things were shifting. They were losing attention, and that made them angry. One of them, the Grunux boy from before, whispered to his friend, "They think they're better than us now. Let's show them they're not." Late one evening, Lyra and Alex returned to the lab to find their workbench in a mess. Papers were torn, tools thrown on the floor, and their latest orb design smashed. Lyra stood still, staring at the broken pieces. Her hand shook. Alex put a hand on her shoulder. "We'll fix it. Why do they hate me so much?" Lyra asked softly. "They don't hate you," Alex said. "They're scared. You showed them you're strong, and that scares people who want control." Lyra took a deep breath. She knelt down and began picking up the pieces. "We'll rebuild it," she said. "And this time, we'll make it even better." The next day, the academy was buzzing with talk about the damage. Some students were angry, others were worried. But one thing was clear. Most of them stood with Lyra and Alex now. A few even came to help. Nira brought tools. Megan brought supplies. Others offered their time and support. As they worked together to rebuild the orb, Lyra looked around. She didn't feel alone anymore. She was part of something. And she wasn't going to let fear stop her again. Lyra stood in the lab, surrounded by tools, wires, and small glowing crystals. Her hands moved carefully as she placed the last piece into the new energy orb. Alex stood beside her, watching with quiet pride. "It's done," Lyra said, her voice steady. Alex smiled. "It looks stronger than ever." The orb was now protected by a stronger outer shell. They had added a second power crystal inside to improve its life. It could now last even longer and work in different environments. Over the last few days, many students had come to help rebuild. Some stayed to give ideas. Others simply wanted to show they supported Lyra and Alex. The lab, once quiet and lonely, was now full of friendly voices and busy hands. But not everyone liked the change. A group of older students, led by the Grunux boy, continued to cause trouble. They didn't say much openly anymore, but they watched from a distance with angry eyes. One day during lunch, the group approached Alex in the cafeteria. Lyra wasn't there, so you think you're a hero now. The Grunux boy said. Alex looked up from his tray. No, I just try to do what's right. The boy slammed his hand on the table. You're making a joke out of us. She doesn't belong here. Alex stood up. He wasn't afraid. She belongs here just like anyone else. You're the one who doesn't get it. This school is for everyone. The boy growled but didn't strike. Other students nearby had turned to look. No one laughed. No one cheered. But no one helped the bully either. He turned and walked away. Later, Alex told Lyra what happened. They're still trying to scare us, he said. Lyra looked down for a moment, then lifted her head. Let them try. I'm not scared anymore. The tech club was preparing for a school-wide presentation day. Each group would show a project to visiting scientists and students from other academies. Lyra and Alex were chosen to present their improved orb. For days, they practiced their presentation. They worked on their words, made clear pictures, and even built a small model of a ship that used the orb to run. The night before the big day, Lyra stood by the tree in the garden. Alex joined her. Nervous? He asked. A little, she said. But I'm also excited. This time, I get to speak, and people will listen. You've come so far, Alex said. And you did it by being yourself. Lyra nodded. Thank you for standing with me. The next morning, the school hall was full. Colorful displays lined the room. People walked around, stopping to ask questions and look at the projects. When it was their turn, Lyra and Alex stood beside their display. The orb glowed softly on a raised platform. Alex welcomed the crowd. Then Lyra explained how the orb worked. She spoke with confidence. Her voice didn't shake. She talked about her home planet, about the power crystals, and about why this technology mattered. The visitors listened closely. Some nodded, others asked questions. At the end, the crowd clapped. A visiting scientist walked up to them. This is excellent work. Have you thought about applying to the Intergalactic Science Fair? This design could be very useful for rescue teams. Lyra's eyes widened. She looked at Alex. We hadn't thought about it, Alex said. But maybe we should. The scientist handed them a card. Think about it. We need minds like yours. After the crowd moved on, Lyra sat down for a moment. Her hands were shaking now, not from fear, but from excitement. Did that really happen? She asked. It did, Alex said. You did it. As they packed up their things, other students came by to offer their congratulations. Even Megan gave them a hug. You're both amazing, she said. Back in the garden, Lyra placed the new orb under the silver leaf tree. This is where it started, she said. And now look at us. We're not done yet, Alex said. There's more to come. They sat under the tree, watching the twin moons rise. They had faced bullies, fear, and failure. But they had also found friendship, respect, and strength. And even though they knew the journey wasn't over, they were ready. Together, they were stronger. And they weren't afraid of anyone anymore. Lyra walked through the academy halls with a new sense of purpose. She no longer kept her head down. She smiled when people greeted her. She even started small conversations with classmates. Everything felt different now. The fear she once carried inside had been replaced with something stronger, pride and hope. Alex noticed it too. He watched Lyra from across the room during class. She raised her hand more often and spoke with confidence. He felt proud of her, but he also knew things were still fragile. Some people didn't change as quickly as others. One afternoon, Alex and Lyra were working on their next project. They were building a power grid that could share energy between ships in space. It was something Lyra had imagined a long time ago. Now, they had the tools and support to try it. While they worked, a message came through the Academy's main system. It was a notice for a special meeting. All students were to gather in the assembly hall that evening. The room was full when Lyra and Alex arrived. The head of the Academy stood at the front with a serious look on his face. "Students," he said, "we are aware of recent events involving damage to student projects. This behavior will not be accepted. We are launching an investigation. Those found responsible will face serious action." A quiet murmur spread through the room. Some students looked around nervously. The Grunux boy and his group sat near the back. Their eyes were cold. The head continued, "This academy was built on unity and respect. We expect all students to act with kindness. Anyone who chooses hate or fear will not have a place here." After the meeting, Lyra felt a mix of emotions. She was glad the academy was taking a stand, but she also knew the bullies wouldn't give up so easily. That evening, while walking back to her room, she found a note under her door. It said, "Leave now, or things will get worse." She held the paper in her hand, heart pounding. For a moment, the old fear tried to return, but then she took a deep breath and walked straight to Alex's room. He opened the door and saw the look on her face. What happened? Lyra gave him the note. Alex read it, then looked at her. "You okay?" "Yes," she said. "I'm not running." "Good," Alex replied. "Because we're not alone." The next day, they told Mr. Bradley about the note. He took it seriously and promised to inform the academy head. Later that week, something unexpected happened. Students from the tech club and others who had helped with the orb stood together during lunch. Nira stood up in front of the group and said loudly, "We support Lyra and Alex. If you try to hurt them, you'll have to go through all of us." The room grew quiet. Even the bullies didn't respond. No one had expected such bold support. From then on, things began to change faster. The group that used to cause trouble became quiet. A few members even stopped hanging out with the Grunux boy. He was losing power. Lyra started getting invitations to study groups and science chats. She was now seen as a real part of the academy. One weekend, the tech club decided to hold an event. They called it Unity Through Innovation. Each team would show a project that focused on helping others. Lyra and Alex presented their new shared power grid idea. When it was their turn, Lyra stepped up first. This project was born from something simple: kindness. "When we help each other, we all grow stronger." Alex added, "This academy gave us a chance. We want to give back, not with anger, but with ideas and teamwork." The audience clapped, and even a few teachers wiped their eyes. After the event, Lyra stood under her tree again, looking at the stars. Alex joined her. "Do you ever think about the first day we met?" she asked. "All the time," he said. "That moment changed everything." Lyra nodded. "I used to think I didn't belong here. Now I know I do. And it's because I stopped hiding." "You didn't just stop hiding," Alex said. "You became a light for others." Lyra smiled, her eyes glowing softly. "And you were the first to see that light." The night air was quiet. Around them, the garden shimmered with soft light. They had faced many things, but together they had made something beautiful. And soon the whole galaxy might see it too. A new day began at the academy. The air felt fresh and full of hope. Lyra woke up with a smile. She looked at the silver pin from her home planet, still shining on her desk. It reminded her of how far she had come. She dressed quickly, ready. For whatever the day would bring. As Lyra walked through the halls, she saw students talking in small groups. Some were reading, others were laughing. A few students nodded at her or waved. She felt a sense of belonging that she had never felt before. The days of hiding in the back, afraid of being noticed, were gone. Alex met her outside the science lab. He had a box under his arm and a bright look in his eyes. "Ready for today?" he asked. "I'm ready," Lyra said. "What's in the box?" Alex grinned. "It's a surprise. But we have to wait until the big meeting." Together, they went to the tech club room. Students from different planets filled the space, setting up displays and checking their projects. The air buzzed with energy. Today was the day the council would review all the new inventions and decide which ones to show at the Intergalactic Science Fair. Lyra and Alex set up their table. On it, they placed the latest version of the energy orb and the shared power grid. The orb glowed softly, a warm light that seemed to welcome everyone. Soon, the academy head and several council members entered the room. The whole room grew quiet as the head spoke. "Today, we celebrate what makes our academy special," he said. "We celebrate students who help others, who use their minds and hearts to make the world better." Each team presented their project. Some ideas focused on health, others on learning, and a few on making daily life easier for everyone. When it was their turn, Lyra took a deep breath and stood in front of the crowd with Alex beside her. "We built these projects because we wanted to help," Lyra said. "At first, I was scared. I didn't know if anyone would listen to me. But with Alex and our friends, I learned that working together can change everything." Alex spoke next. "Number one should ever feel alone or left out. Our academy is a place for everyone. That's what our inventions are about: sharing, caring, and growing stronger as a group." As they finished, Lyra opened the surprise box. Inside was a small tree with silver leaves, grown from a cutting of the tree she had planted in the garden. She held it up. "This tree is a piece of my home," she said. "I want to plant it here as a sign of unity and new beginnings." The crowd clapped, some even standing. The academy head nodded. "That is a beautiful gift, Lyra. Thank you." Later, everyone gathered in the academy garden. Lyra dug a small hole with Alex's help and placed the tree inside. Nira, Megan, and many other friends joined them. They all took turns adding a scoop of earth dot as they finished. The head of the academy made an announcement. "Lyra and Alex, your projects will represent our school at the Intergalactic Science Fair. You have shown not just skill, but kindness and bravery." Lyra felt her eyes fill with happy tears. She looked at Alex, and he gave her a big smile. "We did it," he whispered. "No," Lyra said softly. "We all did it together." News of their story began to spread beyond the academy. Soon, messages arrived from other schools and even other planets. Some students wrote to Lyra, saying her courage inspired them. Others wanted to learn how to make energy orbs or join a club like hers. Lyra answered each message with care. She wanted everyone to know they were welcome, no matter how different they felt. Weeks later, Lyra and Alex traveled to the Intergalactic Science Fair. The hall was filled with students and teachers from every corner of the galaxy. They stood by their display, showing the energy orb and the power grid to crowds of curious visitors. A reporter asked Lyra, "What advice do you have for students who feel alone or bullied?" Lyra thought for a moment. "Find one friend who sees you for who you are. Stand together. And remember that you are not alone. There are always people who care, even if you have not met them yet." The reporter smiled. "Thank you, Lyra. You are a light for many." As the fair went on, Lyra and Alex met new friends from many worlds. They shared stories, ideas, and dreams for the future. When the event ended, they returned to the academy. The little silver tree had grown taller, its leaves shining bright in the sunlight. Lyra stood under the tree, feeling the soft breeze on her face. Alex joined her. "Are you happy?" he asked. "Yes," Lyra said. "I'm not just happy. I'm proud. And I know that whatever happens next, I'll never have to face it alone." Together, they watched the stars come out, ready for the next adventure side by side.